Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November 2025 edition of Grid Talk, hosted by Method Grid. My name is Rachel. I'm the Strategic Account Manager for Method Grid. So just before we get in, a couple of housekeeping notes. You'll see on the right of your screen there is a chat box. So please do feel free to interact with the other attendees, chat away. If you have any problems, technical or otherwise, please do drop your notes in there. We have our moderator, Tom, on hand who can help you out if you do have any problems. Just next to that, you will see another option called questions. Now, at the end of the session, we are doing a Q&A. So please pop any questions you have throughout the session into that questions box, and I will run through them at the end of the session. So I am so thrilled to be able to take you through a live demonstration of our Method Grid platform. Let me give you a little bit of background about who we are and what we do. Then we will jump into the platform demonstration and how we go about creating digital playbooks. And as I mentioned at the end, we will go through a question and answer session. So Method Grid is one platform to connect knowledge, process, and delivery for your teams so that you can define and deliver your way. So how has this all come about? I'm sure you recognize the pain points. So sometimes we know what it is that we need to do, but are our people actually following our processes? Do they know where to find things? Do they know where the templates live? You know, are they off reinventing the wheel each and every time, recreating assets, wasting time, and basically not being as efficient as they can be? The traditional approach to combat this is to add in checks, create lots and lots of, compliance checks, gateways, just add more and more of the load onto your people. This then creates that high drift, low compliance oil tanker situation that people get into. So it becomes really impossible to be agile. It becomes really difficult for your end users to actually deliver to the clients in the way that the client wants, square peg, round hole, those sorts of things. So what we try and do is take that pain point away. So how we do this is we have a really easy to use, simple platform where you can create your digitalized playbooks so that your end users can then clone those playbooks down and they have everything they need all in the one place. And that place is the exact place that they are tracking all of their tasks. So they have their templates, their best practice examples, their guidance, all in the same place as they're tracking off their tasks. And it also means that you have this virtuous cycle of learning as well. So we all talk about lessons learned. We love to talk about lessons learned. But what does that mean in reality? It goes on a spreadsheet, it goes on the shelf. Nobody ever looks at it again. Whereas when you have these proper digitalized playbooks, it means that you can push up not only what went badly, which is often what we focus on, but really what went well. What is going well in all of our projects that we can push back up into our master playbooks to ensure that we're doing those great things each and every time, and of course avoiding the pitfalls that we might hit when doing our projects. And of course all of this is then combined into our analytics suite. So there is a full reporting suite available in the platform as well to make sure that you can track all of those. You have all of your high-level oversight of compliance, and that means that we get to avoid that oil tanker situation. We're nice and lean, we're nice and agile, and it's really easy to make changes, create bespoke playbooks for each of your client instances. Of course, there are lots of different ways that Method Grid can be used as well. Our sweet spot, as you can see here with some of our main clients, is large capital project delivery, infrastructure type projects. However, we also have a range of different use cases based in standard operating procedures, HR and onboarding, even tech. So we go into like IT sprints, managing those sorts of things. So there's lots of different ways that Method Grid can be used. So without further ado, I am going to jump into the platform. As I mentioned, please do feel free to drop any questions you might have into that questions tab, and we will of course come back to them at the end of the session. So What we're looking at here is what we would term as a digital playbook. So often referred to internally by us as a grid, hence method grid. So the way that grid is structured is you can see the stages across the top here and the themes down the side. So themes are sometimes referred to as swim lanes. So basically this means that you can set up bespoke workflows for your people to go through the process that they are doing. And as you can see, because these are completely bespoke and unique to you, you can create all sorts of different processes. So this one is a standard program delivery playbook. And you can see the little tiles here. Each of those, we refer to them as elements, but they are basically work packages. So all of the lovely knowledge, templates, information that your people need are built into these elements. So you can see here we have a description of what a program brief is. We have the template that they need to fill out to do that. And all the tasks and controls are in exactly the same place. You can also build in video explainers and have your experts built into the platform as well. The great thing about having experts to hand is often people, especially if they're potentially new to the business, don't actually know where to turn to. And it slows them down, of course. So the way we've got around that is by adding experts in, and that way you can chat with them directly on the platform. So we have collaboration tools built in, so you can collaborate on the work package itself, or if you have a question about a specific task, for example, you can open that up. You can add in a chat here. So I could mention Dom and say, I need help with this particular item. And Dom will get a notification and know exactly what part of the program I am talking about and can then support me. So again, it just takes away a lot of that legwork, a lot of the scrambling around, trying to find what you need. It's all basically in the one place. We also have, of course, stage gates built in between each of these stages. So you can see the little diamonds here. These are to produce your stage gates as needed. So you can add in whatever kind of exit criteria you need. So you can go through and tick off those tasks. And of course, you then have the option to do a sign off. So whether that has been a conditional pass or fail, you can also record all of that in an audit trail. So if there has been a conditional pass, you can then add in those additional checks that need to be done, even though the process can still move forward. Of course, you'll be asking, what about the schedule? So we absolutely have a Gantt view built in to the platform as well. So we can flick from what we call grid view over to Gantt view. And in here is where you can build out your entire Gantt. So you have full scheduling capabilities in here. You can see here is the view that I have built for this particular program. So of course, all of the standard dependencies, constraints, baselines. You can also, of course, highlight critical path, which is very important to a lot of our clients. So you can come in here and ensure that your critical path has been highlighted. And in here, you can do all sorts of different things as well. So for example, reassigning tasks to different people, you can do that all in bulk. Changing your schedule in bulk can all be done here as well. So you can see lots and lots going on, and you can build out that whole schedule in here. So the way these playbooks are designed is that you would have your master playbook, so your one source of truth for how you deliver a certain type of service or how you deliver all of your services. So you would come in and then filter down to that specific view for the service that you're delivering. So for example, I could come in here and say, I just want to filter down to the mandatory items, for example. So we have a mandatory label there. I can filter down to those because it's just a stripped back project that we're doing. We're not delivering everything for this particular client. So now I have that bespoke view of just the mandatory items that we're going to deliver, and I can then clone that. So I can clone a brand new version, and it will just take a couple of seconds, and then we will have a brand new clean version of those particular deliverables. So then we can go in, start reassigning, start putting in our schedule. Also, if you have a pro forma schedule in your master playbook, it will clone down with it. So you can keep, your dependencies, your constraints, things like that, as long as you haven't removed any of the items that are connected. If they're still there, then they will all stay connected. You can then just change the start date of your project and away you go. So really, really easy to use. You don't have to worry about, adding in your schedule each and every time. You can absolutely just add start dates and away we go. So of course, when it comes to actually building out content, you can imagine that these playbooks get quite large. So we have a few little tips and tricks to help you there. If we pop into edit mode, basically everything becomes bespoke. So you can determine what your stages are. So if you wanted to change the names of the stages, how many you have, you can add in extras, for example. You can move things around in the process, so you can pick things up, drop them. You can create a completely bespoke view of the process that you're setting up. So as I mentioned earlier, you don't get into that square peg round hole situation where a lot of people find, if you're subscribing to, Reba or Prince2, for example, they're absolutely great, but they might not be quite right for your client. You work in Prince2, your client wants to work in Reba. It's all a bit like, so you can actually change these up and make sure that they work exactly for the delivery that you are offering. So again, when we're creating brand new elements, we have a few little hints and tricks to help build out content. So we can build in a brand new element here, for example. This might be a risk management plan. Let's get the spelling correct. Then what we can do is pick up our AI helper. So when we have our AI set up, what we can do is we can ground the AI in specific sources. So you can see here, I've got a couple of libraries set up, one for APM content and one for construction content. So we can ground it in any of the information that you need, whether it is about your business, about your client, about the type of project that you are delivering. And of course, it's all completely ring fenced. So we don't send any of your lovely IP off for training, any of that. It is purely used for the prompt, and then it is removed. You can also add in tone and language. So you can see I've got plain professional English and what is the project or program about. So this playbook is tracking a program for multiple hospital constructions. So you can add in as much or as little information as you would like for the AI. And then you can select the template that you wish to use. So let's go with this deliverable template here. And you can see off the AI goes. So we have created now at least a first draft of a deliverable around a risk management plan. So it has given me a purpose. It's given me the key activities I might need, the objectives, all in much, much quicker time than I could possibly build. Again, these are all completely bespoke for you. So you can set up these templates to create content exactly as you wish them to be structured. And we can, of course, assist with that. You also have a little AI tweaker, as it were. So this little sparkle here is a little assistant to help you tweak content. So you could say, change this into bullets, for example. Oh. Hit generate. And then away we go. So you can see it can make those changes nice and quickly for you, really helping expedite that build. Another really interesting thing that the AI can do that I certainly couldn't is so we can translate work packages or playbooks into other languages. So for your different geographical regions, we can ensure that they work for all of your people. So you can see certainly a lot quicker than me trying to use Google Translate, and very accurate. We've had it checked over. So yeah, definitely a very helpful tool there. So I'm going to pop back into my pre-built grid and show you a little bit more of how we actually go about using them. So once we've done all of our assigning, our scheduling, we would then drop in to actually use the playbook. So there are a couple of different things that we can add in there. So I mentioned that you can have, your templates in there, your video explainers, and so on. You can also add in things into your guidance, such as e-learning. So we can build you e-learning modules. You can, of course, use your own if you have them already, but we can embed them directly into the platform. Then they can just be opened up and you can drill down into the specific modules that you're looking to ingest. Again, it just takes that legwork away from your people. They don't have to go off to a separate LMS. They don't have to go off to other platforms to find what they're looking for. It's all at their fingertips. Then when we're going through and doing the things we need to do, so ticking off our tasks, etc., we have everything we need. We can start then going through and ticking it off. You can see there, I've got a little orange error to say, actually, to complete this task, you need to upload evidence. So you can actually require evidence of your people. So you can say, okay, we will now connect through to, SharePoint, Google Drive, wherever it might be. I am just going to grab one from my machine. So you can then upload a document for your evidence, and then that way you have that evidence requirement completed, and I can then tick off my task. So then, as you can see, generally speaking with these types of workflows, it would be review and update, and then approve. Again, the approval requires evidence there. You can start to see the progress bar is going up. And that way you have that high level oversight of exactly where you are in the process, which elements have been completed, which stages have been completed, etc. And on that note, we again have little tips and tricks to help you with that. So behind your label ledger here, you can see what each of these element labels means. So the purple being a product, the blue being an activity, reference or guidance in the green. But you can see we also have rules. So we can switch these rules on, and you will see that a bunch of those elements will change color. So you can see they've turned bright orange because there are tasks within those work packages that are overdue. You can also switch on whether an element is overdue as a whole. So you can see those have all now turned red because they are all overdue. And you can also switch on which ones are complete. So you can see those couple there have turned bright green. So it's really great, again, for that high level oversight. You can drop into your playbooks and say, okay, everything is bright green, wonderful. Drop in and see everything is bright red, not so wonderful. Probably need to step in and do something here. All of this is overseen by very complex access control. So easy to use, but complex in the sense that you can ensure that nobody has access to things that they shouldn't. They can ensure that, they can only see certain folders, they can only see certain playbooks. You can make sure that everyone has their own bespoke view. And then, of course, we have our full analytics suite as well. So if we pop behind this little graph, you will see we have what we call custom dashboards. So in here, you can set up any type of view that you would like. These can be completely unique to you, to your client, to your certain programs or projects. Absolutely any set of data that you want to look at, you can create these bespoke views. So you can see I've set one up for my program there, but you can have multiple as well. So if you wanted to look at it from a program perspective like I've done here, you can, or even from a people perspective. So you can have a look at a very high level at resourcing, for example. So how many tasks I have assigned to me, what those status of the tasks are, all of that lovely sort of stuff. We can then drop down into more detail. So if we were wanting to look at our projects and the status of them, so on, we can. So taking off this My Open Grids filter, we can then filter down to a specific subset. So for example, if I wanted to see just the projects that are ragged red, I can apply that filter. I can then save that as a bookmark, so I don't have to do the filtering each and every time. And of course, you can layer these filters on top of each other. So if you wanted to just see red ragged items that are overdue, you can absolutely do so. And then we drop down further into, elements or work packages. So you can then take that filter off. As I say, you can then create those bespoke filters. So again, if we were wanting to just look at the amber rag, we can then select that, and it will show us just those amber items, and so on. The really important one with gates is, of course, you can look at them by outcome. So for example, if you were just wanting to look at the ones that had been conditionally passed, so you know that there are extra tasks that needs to be done there, you can absolutely draw down to those, click through, and it will take you straight to that stage gate. So you can review and see if those additional checks have been done, and then of course, update the outcome if you wish. So when I talk about access control, it's all based on a folder structure. So you can then determine who has access to what folders, and these can be set up however you wish. Again, it's completely bespoke and unique to you and your account. Often people will have geographical folders, so they will have a folder for each of their regions, and then they will have nested folders for each of their clients, for example. So you can really create very bespoke views to ensure that your people, one, aren't overwhelmed by the sheer amount that's going on in the account, but also just have access to the things they need. You can also decide who has edit rights, who can clone playbooks, all of those sorts of things. So just be rest assured that there's a lot of safety and security that is built into the platform in terms of access control. Now, I showed you a program delivery playbook, but I did mention earlier that we have all sorts of different use cases for Method Grid. So you can see we do standard operating procedures. It leans in really nicely to staff onboarding as well. So if you wanted to use that for staff inductions, you absolutely can. And you'll see that the structure is just slightly different because, again, we can make them completely unique and bespoke. So the stages across the top here are often things like week 1, week 2, week 3. And then down the side, it might be things like, the company overview, HR and legal, so on and so forth. So you can see how this structure would be really helpful for a new starter, because not only is it, guidance around how the business works and operates and somewhere that they can find all the bits and pieces they need, but it also gives them a starting point for the platform that they're going to be using in the future. So it's a really seamless journey from, your onboarding process into your processes or services, your delivery structures, that sort of thing. It just makes that transition really easy. We also lean into knowledge management. So a lot of our clients will use us for pure knowledge as well. So just building out standard operating procedures, as I say, or having things like know-how grids that people can just drop into and search for knowledge. So you can absolutely use our search here. So if you're wanting to search for something specific, say risk, for example, you can search for specific files. You can see it's a lot quicker than SharePoint. And then we can click on that and it will take you directly through to where that file lives. It will also highlight the file. So it makes it really, really easy for searching for content, which is great. So really, really fast, easy to use, and of course, completely filterable. So you can search for comments, you can search for elements, whatever it is that you might need. We also have full notifications built into the platform as well. So anytime anyone mentions you in a comment, assigns you anything, schedules your tasks, all of that sort of lovely stuff pops up in your little notifications tab here. So you can see everything you need in your little categories here. So you can see I've had a couple of things assigned to me that have due dates on them. So I can then just drop through to those and that will take me to exactly the point in the process that I need to be. So nice and easy to use. We also have a structured homepage as well. So this will collect all of the items that are assigned to you that have due dates on them. So you can see all of my items here that are overdue. I can then just fast travel to them. Equally, I can fast travel to any of the processes that I have been using really quickly without having to go through the folder structure. So I am now going to just switch back and see if we have any questions. Please do feel free to drop any questions you have into that question section, and I will run through them quickly if anyone does have any. No, it looks like it all made sense to people. So we do have another grid talk coming up in a month's time. We will be touching on more of our AI processes. So we have an AI chatbot that is due to be released before that grid talk. Also, we are building, as we speak, 2 new AI features, one of which is called AI document drafting. The other is AI QA, We did previously do a grid talk on this, which is available on demand. And so if you pop to our website, you can find all of our previous grid talks on demand, but that one is particularly interesting if you wanted to have a quick look at that. Otherwise, as I say, Jodie, our product manager, will be running through the AI assistant or AI chatbot in the next grid talk. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So happy for you to have all joined us. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Any questions, or if you'd like to go through a more in-depth demo, please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help.